Let's call this meeting to order, please. Do we have any public comments? Is anybody showing up, Dr. Gonzalez? That's public
No one
comments?
signed up, but we do have members from the community. I don't know, Ms. Morales, do you have any comments or anything to share? Scan, anything? Okay.
All right. We have approval of minutes from October 2nd, since there was not a quorum in November. So look them over. I don't even remember what we did.
Motion to approve?
I have a motion on the floor
I'll second.
and a second. Any discussion or questions? Anyone opposed? Call for the motion. How many approve?
Approve.
Anyone against? Motion passes. All right, and then just read over what we did in November, because since there was no quorum, these are not official. It was just a discussion, okay? Didn't vote on anything,
Right.
though it was a lot of good information that we did get. So you can go over that on, as you go home at your leisure. And we will go on with update on detox facility. Dr. Gonzalez?
So, red line was approved, red line architecture was approved, that's Commissioner's Court, unanimously, and,
Good.
go ahead, Dr. Gonzalez.
No, that's the good news, Madam Chair and members of the commission, that again, we really appreciate the support of both the county and the city on the detox. Commissioner's Court did approve Redline, which is the architect. An RFP went out, a request for qualification RFQ went out, and a team was put together between county and city to review the qualifications. And we had actually 6 people who submitted, so 4 were from local and 2 from out of town. Very qualified folks. Redline was given the go-ahead.
Are they local?
They're local.
Yay.
They're local. They are already putting together a conceptual design based a lot on what Mr. Montemayor did. So thank you for your work, and the members of the committee like Jesse who met and put a draft together, if you will. He's already begun. We're gonna do another walkthrough Friday with the county folks, the county attorney, someone from their planning, our engineer and public works person, and myself. He has some questions, so he can do the final product to then go public and post it for a contractor to come do the remodeling and the construction. So it's a reality. So again, thank you to Judge Tijerina, and thank you to Mayor Sines, both City Council and County Commissioners Court took this on, and we needed it for many years, and so
Thank you.
we'll keep you informed.
Thank you. Once it
Red
starts-
Line is a reputable company, and he already did his homework, but he has to adhere to the state statutory regulations for a detox facility. And again, we educated ourselves that today's detox have to conform to state statutes,
Right.
and it's really, you have to make it a facility like really a dorm, a hotel that allows the person to get well, allows the person to recover, allows the person to begin treatment, but then comes the after once they detox. And that's your next item.
Okay.
That's coming, and you have like Scan, who's already involved in transition services, in residential treatment, because the detox is the first part, and we were missing that. Then comes really the real rehabilitation and treatment part, and I know the work group has already been meeting to discuss that issue, and last time we discussed it, that now is the time to plan. So before we know it, the detox will be built.
Right.
So we have to be ready to start with the transition, the
Yeah.
residential services, the rehab services, and the continued treatment services. So that's where we're at in the detox again. And thank you to Judge Tijerina and Mayor Sines, council and commissioners for committing to do this.
Right.
And not only committing to do it in words, but they're putting money behind
That's,
it.
yeah, putting their money where their mouth is. Very good. Do we have a timeline?
Anything to add, Mana?
No, we were all pleasantly pleased with Redline. They're a reputable company. They've done golondrinas, they've done the new facility that's on Bartlett, they've done Polly Adams. They have they've done Falcon Bank. Very seasoned company. They were informative. They put a tremendous packet together. So after this, Civil Legal will go into contracts with them, and then they'll meet on Friday. And then after that, they'll go into the construction of who is going to be awarded to build this Taj Mahal that we want.
Very good. Wonderful. We need to send them Christmas cards.
Yeah.
I'm glad Mara brought up the credentials, and if you haven't seen Las Golondrinas, it's a food truck court over there in North Central Park.
I heard
They're
of
the
it.
ones who built
I've
it.
gone.
I haven't been there.
They were very innovative, both on the city side, city planning, building, and us reviewed the plans before they constructed. And so they did a good job. And so it's a little different, but it's construction. And he's an architect, so.
They also build a 24-hour freestanding ER,
Yes,
I believe.
yes.
So
On Bartlett, right?
yeah.
On Bartlett,
So
yes.
they have.
That's a nice big
Yeah,
building.
they know pretty much. Their preliminary plans include like where nurses would be to see the patients, like the detox patients, where different rooms will be separating males from females. So they have preliminary ideas that are in compliance with the statute.
Yes.
So it's headed in the right direction.
They did their homework,
Good.
so.
Well, Jesse was the one who knew it all, so that was why we were following in his lead about this is not wide enough, and this is not this, and this is not that, so, yeah.
All the compliance
Jesse and
stuff.
Mr. Montemayor, so.
Yes, he was very instrumental in that. He always had his plans with him, I remember. Thank you so much for all your help. Okay, we continue. Update and discussion and possible action on transitional services. Well, we talked about it. After detoxification, do you have anything to add to that?
Going back to the experts, I don't know what some of the discussions, SCAN and the work group, Jesse had been already discussing. I don't know, do you have anything to update?
Not particularly. I'm with the Detox group, so I know that section was covered. But I can certainly help out if you need information on what transpires or what happens next after detox.
And we'll be able, or we're just doing detox, we won't be able to provide that at all? Dr.
No,
Gonzalez?
we're looking in the work group on looking at residential at that same
Okay,
site
there, yes.
to kind of help out with, God willing, with the number of people that we're gonna be pushing through. Because SCAN already has residential, but I think
Well, another idea to that is, since there's already a residential in place, fully active, why not invest in that particular facility?
Right.
To expand. And when you expand, the beds that you get will be designated for the particular detox. So it won't be, oh, there's no beds available. You'll know how many beds this particular project will require.
Perfect. That's a good
So that's,
idea.
And this residential is with SCAN?
yes, it's at Rio Bravo, Sanidad Recovery
Oh, yeah.
Center. There's one for males, and then there's a separate one for females.
And I think, Madam Chair, that's the discussion that the group needs to have, both the detox and then the transition services, which were part of the same group. And so now they were concentrating the detox, now they can start talking about transition. And as Mr. Montemayor said, the place is big enough where you can add a few beds to start and then piggyback
Correct, increase.
on what SCAN has and others may have. Because the thinking is that as soon as we open, and it's gonna have 12 adults and 6 adolescents, we're gonna outgrow it.
Exactly.
And so if there's a few beds there, and it's still up for discussion.
Because
you can
looking at our
begin-
population, what makes you think 12 will be?
Well, no, in a little bit, we'll ask.
Oh, we're gonna-
Lieutenant
yeah.
Tinajero, he wants to give an update on the task force that they helped form. It's the need is there.
Yes.
Right now, we
I
just
don't-
can't offer
More.
people who are in the streets a place. And so I think we're gonna need both. What
He's
Mr. Manrique mentioned, adding to the residential, but adding there so you don't lose anyone. And then add to the other facilities that are here, because they're gonna need more area as well. And so that's the discussion. And so we hope that the Detox, who also has transition under their discussion, is that they now switch from Detox to Transition.
Any
and-
word from Henry Cuellar?
No, we did touch base with him on the Detox, and he congratulated the commission for that, because he's in support. There aren't any monies right now that he could link us, but he's been alerting, he's gonna be looking.
Okay.
I know we've asked the state, I've already had conversations with the state. The state does not have brick and mortar dollars, but once we have the Detox running, they do have for treatment. And so there
That's what we need.
we can add to that, because on the city side, the city is already October 1, every ticket, the police department, every traffic violation.
Yes, I saw that in the
On the
newspaper.
portion that the city keeps, $20 is going to already a fund for the operations. And by the time it's billed, it's projected we'll have at least $500,000 to $700,000. We need
Way more.
1.5
Yes. way
minimum to run it, to hire the staff, the doctors, the psychiatrists, the medication. We shared with you that one of the medications used for Detox is $1,000 a shot. But we gotta do it. We have to do it, and so yes, for agencies that have those additional services, we have to support them. Why reinvent the wheel? So
Right.
SCAN does have residential already, but I think what Mr. Montemayor is saying is, and that's what the work group has to discuss, and Anna's also in the work group of seeing, we don't wanna lose them in the Detox so soon, so do we add a couple of beds there and start transition, and then move them to what we have, to the residential treatment centers that we have, like that SCAN oversees.
So that we don't lose them, because if that's it, it's
Yeah.
gonna go back to the same old, same old.
Under the transition, and I haven't met this, but Jesse and I talked a little bit, is also, it's big enough to have what we call the wet shelter for persons right now, someone who's under the influence, is in the street, could make it to Bethany, but you've gotta be clean to say, because it's a family.
Yeah, so they're falling in the cracks.
Well, yes, and Bethany won't, they'll feed you, they'll give you clothes, but they won't let you stay there. So where do they stay? They stay in the street.
Yeah.
And this place could have a section where someone who's under the influence can spend the night there, and then in the morning, begin with the counselors, the caseworkers to start detoxing, because unfortunately, it's all voluntary.
Yeah.
And we
Yes,
can't force them.
that's the issue.
But if we offer it, some will take it.
Yeah.
Right now, and again, the thing I can look into the stories that they see every day, people out in the streets. We have a homeless population that's broken up into three parts: real homeless, migrants who are moving in and out for different reasons, and folks with addiction.
Yeah.
They're in the street because they have an addiction.
Right.
They're not necessarily homeless, but they're in the street. Those are the ones that if we have a place that they can sleep it off, stay, then we can offer services with the counselors, with the caseworkers, and the Detox will have the facility to begin treatment, and then transfer them over to transitional residential areas, programs like SCAN.
Well, we need to have it in place by the time the brick and mortar is finished.
Yeah.
But that's why the item is for the work group to begin to discuss that, and have a plan, because before you know it,
Yes.
the Detox will be
That's what I was
built.
asking about the timeline, yes. We need to have a plan in place so that it doesn't just drop them off in the middle of treatment.
You're right.
And based on that, I don't know if Lieutenant Tinajero wants to give an update on the HARP group that they helped form, that many around the table are.
HARP?
Yes.
The acronym is HARP, but it's,
Heroin Addiction Response Team.
yeah.
Oh, H-A-R-T or H-E-A-R-T?
No.
You spell it like the word heart, but so heroin, H-E, and then addiction
H-E-A-R-T,
response.
okay.
Yeah, Doc, I mean, just real quick, some of you guys are part of the team, but the ones that are not, real quick update or explanation of what it is, it's, we're trying to provide a different approach to how the city responds to opiate abuse, and mainly we're focusing on that thing that sometimes we wanna, when you say drug abuse, you wanna grab a big piece of the pie and attack it as a big piece. So we're trying to limit it to heroin abuse and to people that are actually on the street. And like the doctor said, some are true homeless. The majority are not. They're transitional or by choice out on the street. We learned this when we hit the park underpass a couple of months ago. We ran everybody off. Nobody wanted services, but we ran them off, and all of a sudden, they all went home. And everybody's thinking that they're homeless, and they're not. Okay, they're there because first of all, they're hanging out with their buddies, which are also heroin abusers. So, and at home probably they get the stop being lazy, go to work, and they don't want to hear that, so they'd rather be
That's right.
on the street, right? So we learned that. Of course, I mean, for you guys know this. We don't know that because we don't deal at that level with these people. But so anyway, so the idea behind HART is to try to get rid of some of this red tape. And I understand every agency's got, including us, we've got requirements, we've got data collection requirements, and some grants are involved, so I got that. But we're trying to see if we can kind of expedite the process and help each other communicate with each other. And, the last meeting we had, it was pretty interesting because we had somebody from Vital Statistics, I don't remember her name, but she showed us the requirements for obtaining something as simple as a birth certificate. That a lot of these people, they've lost it or whatever, misplaced it for 1,000 times, so they can't get it anymore. But there's other ways that we can work around, and some of the agencies that were present were actually very curious because they didn't know the rules themselves. Yet we're involved in this process, so that I was amazed that I was very pleased that at least the networking is happening. So that's pretty interesting. So going back to what this is, like I said, it's just an initiative that we're trying to. It's not a coalition. We don't personally. I don't like the word coalition because a lot of times that it entails a lot of red tape, and no. It's a team. That's why we call it a team. Let's just get together and make some action happen. So we had our first event yesterday finally, and let me tell you the acronym because I come up with these acronyms and I can't remember what they are. Called Outreach. So it's an all-star event, outreach, screening, assessment, and referral. Health department was out there. I believe they did 4 on-the-spot screenings, which was pretty good. We had one gentleman that fire department was there. They were cleaning his open sore. Very interesting. I've never seen that personally. And we had a bunch of cadet firefighters that were not ready for it. So I'm sure they had some good stories to tell yesterday at the dinner table. And so they cleaned that out, and then some of the people got advantage of blood pressure testing, which is fine. And then I think it was Bethany House that got some information. There was another gentleman that was there that wanted to talk to the Detox. Wanted to talk to him about trying to get services. He told us that he's been there for 40 years at Jarvis Plaza, wasting his life, and he was finally tired. Finally, after 40 years. So that brings me to my next point. There's a very small window of opportunity, and I learned this through some of the recovering addicts that are in our group. There's a very small window of opportunity. If you don't get it when it's open, these people are not going to be receptive. You just got to find it. You got to have the report to where they can trust you. So yesterday, I wasn't in uniform. I was in civilian clothes, but the bike patrol guys were, because they know these guys on a first name basis. So they trust them. But if they see somebody else, they're not going to trust us. And it goes back. It's kind of our fault as law enforcement officers because we're not educated enough to understand that this is not so much a crime of addiction, but a disease of addiction. So we gotta change our mentality. We have to do it. So that way we can help you guys. You know, because it's a group effort the way we see it. So anyway, so that's gonna be the goal. Chief Gonzalez went out there yesterday. He was all excited. So now we're looking at possibly going mobile, having a little bus with all the agencies that were there yesterday: health department, fire department, Bethany House, Border Region, Scan, some of the volunteers, and you know, believe it or not, just like you all have a schedule, these people have a schedule. So in the morning they get up, Bethany House feeds them, then they go look for their fix, then they come back and relax all day. So we didn't know that. We found that out yesterday. So we were there from 10 to 12. Guess what they were doing? Everybody was out getting their fix. And there were drug dealers coming in and making their sales. And it's very interesting to see the dynamics of that world. So anyway, so we got to get better at finding that window of opportunity to be at the right place at the right time with the right people so that they can have the confidence that they're not going to get arrested, at least not there, okay? See, so it's a very fine line between helping and enabling or allowing for accountability not to happen. So our outlook is basically this: look, you want the help, you're gonna get it. You don't want the help, and you're violating the laws, then you're gonna get arrested. It's that simple. The problem is that, you know, county, and there's so many issues here that this is an environment that continues to allow this process to occur for a lot of reasons, not just here in this table, but at our level, at the county, at the state level, at the federal level, right? So, but anyway, so that's kind of where we are with this. We're very glad that you guys jumped in, you know, right away. And I'll be honest with you, the first meeting I was a little nervous because I didn't know how many people were going to show up, and I actually had to get some more chairs to the table. So really, I mean, I think the first time people were like, okay, what is this about? So, and that's fine. But they came back again, so I'm like, okay, so here's something, we got something here. So
When do you meet?
we try to do once a month. They're at the police department for now. We are serving as the conduit, kind of facilitator type coordination effort level. Of course, we're not experts at all. You guys are the experts. All we're trying to do is just bring everybody to the table, and of course, you know, provide the security that you guys would need, especially if we go out there, because you just never know what a condition.
Right.
So that's where we stand as far as our involvement. But the chiefs are excited about it. I know Dr. Gonzalez was like, hey, put me in the distro, so he's on board. So all of you guys, I really appreciate all the support we've gotten. So, any particular questions, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah, how can we help you all? Like, or when do we go to the meetings?
If you want us, just before we leave, just give me your information.
Okay.
I'll put you in the distro, and you're more than welcome. Anybody's welcome to come in. We are, like I said, the chief. The minute I told him, I remember I approached him and I said, all I need is a conference room. I mean, I got this thing going and see how it works. He jumped on it right away. He immediately mentioned Dr. Gonzalez, and so it could go somewhere important, and we all stick with it. It's not about I need my stats compared to you. We don't want that. We want collaboration. That's the only way we're gonna get to this. But I also understand those requirements. I got it, but within limits, you know, within reason. So far, everybody's willing to help out at their level, and that's what we want. That's exactly what we're looking for.
And would you please send it to Dr. Gonzalez so he could email it to the?
Yeah, I mean, if you can give it to the rest of y'all, then definitely. Yeah.
We will, Madam Chair, and I was gonna ask either Scan or Anna from our staff if you have additional comments on the groups that y'all have been working with it. I know you made a big difference when and the very first one, and the HARP wasn't formed yet, but we were thinking about it, and you know, we did here under the bridge, and that was the same situation.
As a matter of fact, one of the individuals, we did get into.
You got, yes?
We had other contacts, but they didn't pan through, but we did get an individual to Detox.
And unintended result of that when we hit that bridge was, I don't remember, there was a shooting, the guy was at the wrong place at the wrong time. He was one of the ones that was down there. Another gentleman got run over. There were like 2 or 3 deaths after that, not directly to us, but I guess since they weren't really hanging out anymore, they started kind of moving around. So it's a sad situation. Like I said, they're not homeless. They're just, they don't want to be homeless.
Then that's what you said, and what Mr. Manrique said right now. You gotta get them at the time, and he tried that first one, but got to one, so that's one
Yeah.
person.
And that's one person less, and so that's the goal. You know, yesterday I told the group, look, don't expect numbers, don't expect people to be lined up wanting to talk to us. If we can get one person, we already did more than what I expected. So it was very slow yesterday, and that's fine. It's gonna take a while. The word's gonna spread. They gotta have trust in us that we're not there to enforce the rules at that point, but they also gotta be willing to accept the help. You know, and I think most of them, like that one gentleman, 40 years doing it there in Jarvis Plaza. I mean, it would have taken me 40 minutes to make up my mind, but it took this guy 40 years, and that's fine. He's ready now. Let's do it. You know, let's just get him to the right people to get the help.
Do you have that same service with the captive audience in jail?
No, we haven't taken, again, we're just trying to develop this as we go.
Oh, okay.
We just started,
Will you,
the first meeting was in August.
Can you consider to do
I
that?
hadn't thought of that, but that's even more.
Well, only because with the issues that I have with my daughter, she's been in and out of there. I'm told that the guys can see the light of day, but the girls can't, and that there's no exercise for them. The guys do play basketball, so they're in this day and age, I guess on both sides, those are those issues. But then while they're there, they're a captive audience
Yeah.
too. They're, I guess, more desperate and eager instead of repeating, although some of them keep repeating. But
The
if they
majority
have,
will.
yeah,
The issue there, we go back to the window is open by them, not by us.
Yes.
So that's the danger that, I mean, while you're there, they'll tell us yes all day, but
Right.
once they come outside, they have free will,
Yes.
which is the issue here. It's free will.
that's right.
It's
That's
a
it.
determinating energy that it's very hard to tell. Even if you're a family member, even if you're a mother.
Yeah.
I mean, because remember the way I see it, and I'm not saying that I'm totally blind because I'm finishing up a PhD in psychology, so it's not that I'm blind to it, but to understand the process and understand, because once they get lost into the drug, our goal is to get them back in a reinvented form. They're never going to be the same, ever.
Right.
I don't care what they were before. When they come out of that hell, it's going to be a whole different person. So our goal is to try to help them reinvent themselves, come back to productive citizens, and
With
see where we go
skills
after
and
that,
things, yeah.
So that's the goal.
Right.
And a big scale.
Remember,
Thank
the
you
jail
for doing
is-
that. Thank you.
Well, we're
The
trying.
jail is a sheriff's office.
Well, Madam Chair, to answer, in part to answer Ms. Alguindiri, Jesse mentioned last time they're submitting a grant on behalf of the sheriff
Good.
because it's only the sheriff that qualifies. This is from the governor's office to begin treatment in the penal system.
Right.
And part of it would be to purchase Vivitrol, which is a drug use for both detox and treatment. And so he's putting that together, the sheriff, and we had a discussion with him to submit it because he has to submit it, who's ever in charge of the jail, to begin that service. And then I don't know if anyone's here from Pillar. The
And
sheriff
skills,
is
too.
partnering with Pillar to use their counselors to go
Good.
into the jail. There's never enough. I think that's needed too, but I think other programs also are doing some. I think Scan, you're doing something already
Yes,
in the jails with them.
We are working with the sheriff's department and state correction facilities. Individuals that are in prison and are coming out, we work with them, we engage them, and provide them counseling services and case management while they're still in custody. And then help them, once they get released, we still stay with them throughout the transition period. So, yeah, that's something we have, and currently we do offer that particular type of service for males and females at the sheriff's department.
But it's all obviously voluntary, so they can reject it, right?
All the services that are provided
Yeah.
are voluntary.
How many people do you have currently?
Oh, I have to look at the numbers.
I'm just
sorry, I don't have it
curious.
off the top of my head. We do get quite a bit from the sheriff's department, so we do spend
Guess
quite a
I was
bit of
gonna
time over
say,
there.
I wasn't
The
aware
only
of
thing that they
whether
have
she
is
was
that,
aware of it or not.
because there's so
She
many
says it was
visitors,
offered to her.
so
you don't know.
it's just a little bit hard getting in. But I mean, they do try to accommodate us as best they can.
They don't listen.
And that is the crux of the challenge, I think, being voluntary and having them, again, go back to the window scenario, having that window open and us finding it,
Yeah.
and then offering them not just the services here, but the transitions. Okay, so they're in there, they get detox. When they come out, where do they go?
Again.
See, yeah, we can go to counseling, but who's willing in the community? Have we engaged the different businesses? Who's willing to give them a job? See, that's the problem.
To reintegrate them back into society.
Right. So who's, and then what type of job, and what is there a plan for them to go to school and become get some kind of certification or degree plan, whatever?
Is Job Corps part of this? Somebody was gonna contact them?
I don't think Job Corps is part of this.
I know that our business is contacted by the TEC, Texas Employment Commission. I think they have something
They do.
because they have a placement program for 3 months. They pay, and it's for hard to place employees because they've been in jail. And I know that we have hired them, so maybe you can get in touch with them.
I know at a federal level, they do have a program to reintegrate defendants back into society. So, like, if you're out of the halfway house, they'll go to get a job at IHOP or at Whataburger.
Yeah.
And so they have those types of connections. I think the only pushback there is that sometimes they don't want to start from the bottom.
Oh, they don't, yeah.
Yeah, so that's and obviously an esteemed company isn't as receptive to hire an ex-addict as an IHOP or as a Whataburger, so
Right.
that's
There are a couple websites that we use, and we have had some success that specifically cater to individuals who have a record.
Right.
So there are job postings.
Well,
There. In addition, Texas Workforce.
Yeah, the Texas Workforce, they
Workforce
pay
has
a
program
bit,
called, not program, service,
uh-huh.
which is an insurance bond. So individuals that might be at high risk for a certain employer, the Texas Workforce can provide that insurance should anything happen in there, and that'll be covered. So it'll cover the employer. So it used to be that private entities could get that bond, but after some legislation, now it's under Texas Workforce. And if I'm not mistaken, it's there is no expense for that one. I think it's provided by Texas Workforce themselves.
Oh.
That's why it got shifted to them.
Oh,
Because
okay.
SCAN when we used to have this particular project before, we used to purchase those bonds.
Huh,
Now they're offered through Texas Workforce.
okay.
So you have those,
Well, we were offered to, they placed a couple of people with us for the 3 months, and they paid for them, and then we could decide whether we would like to keep them or not, and then we start paying them.
and
maybe a
there's
program
those
that.
things, well, the bonds that you could ask for. But again, it used to be that we could get them for them, but now the employer has to request it from the Texas Workforce.
Oh,
So there's that.
Oh, that's good. I did see in the newspaper today, there's a new jail supervisor
Commander.
or
Yes.
commander. That's the name, okay. So maybe we can, yeah, I know it's not up to him, it's up to the sheriff. Might as well start at the top.
Yeah.
He did accept, so they're writing the grant, but, and it's one piece, that's another piece. What the commission's doing is another piece. We just gotta all pull together, and again, I think that's something good that the commission has done over the almost 2 years you've been working together, is pulling everyone together. What are you doing? Who's doing what? How do we help you? How do we connect people who need services? Because people still don't know where they can get service, and we need to promote that even, and that's part of the
I
next
haven't seen our
topic.
PSA on TV.
That's the next item.
Okay. Okay, we worked so hard on that for months, bugging everybody. Especially Colleen.
No, I'm actually very impressed that this other new
The suicide?
Yes,
Yeah.
that one came out really quickly. I was told like from 1 week to the next, and I was like, really? I said, I didn't even know about that, but.
Yeah, they
that
sent
would
me the script, and then the next week I saw it on KNS.
And we
Oh
haven't
my
gotten it up.
God.
I don't know what's
Yeah.
going on.
I
Discrimination.
didn't see that.
We're,
I was like,
Madam Chair, and the next item is the directory, but also the promotion and the PSA. And the directory, we had lost Mr. Pittman, but he finally contacted us, Andrea, today. So he's gonna update his proposal that he showed you
Okay.
last year in December.
Yes.
So we can get
Been a
it
year.
going and make the directory more friendlier,
And put
easier
that
to-
on the PSA. Go here, go look, go.
Will connect everything. And one of
Yeah.
the biggest things that we've heard, you all, the commission, is that people again don't know where do I go to
Exactly.
get information to go?
Almost 95% of the people that stopped at the mall when we had that event, the families didn't know.
I didn't.
The families were not aware.
Well, the website is gonna be updated so people can make it easier for them to scroll through, because it's a good document, it's just big. On the
Yes.
PSA, it is aired, they haven't given us what times, and the city's PIO has asked the KGNS, all the stations to give us a time so we can share with you. They are showing it on public access at different times. I've seen it, I don't know if others had seen it on public access.
I'm on KGNS only at noon and at 5, so.
No, on the city's public access. Because then we just shared it with the schools for their public access, because I think the information from the Commission on Drug and Alcohol is important for the kids to get it too. But why it hasn't picked up traction in the regular media, we're having the city's public information officer ask, because they promised to. They did do it for suicide, and suicide, when you talk about suicide, it makes people more attracted, because it's to them it's something more that they can address versus addiction. I think Transitional said it well. There's still a stigma, so
Yeah.
it's a disease, but people don't see it.
Maybe you should start it off like that.
at
People-
PSA.
people
Stop
don't see that-
stop stigmatizing addiction.
Well, I think the PSA, is good, but that,
And that's just one component of like what we want
We
to
were
be
gonna
able to
do a bunch.
I think if we had the resources, then it's easier for us to produce that. And actually, I commend you, Mr. Tinajero, for actually, coming up with heart and having to do it, and to continue it. I think it's very important to get that on a PSA or in action when people are out there with these individuals, and then showcase that. Not so much so that it's like, oh, it's a trophy or it's to glorify one or another for doing something good, but to showcase the services that are available.
To know, yeah, we
because
don't
there's so
know.
much that needs to be touched and so much that we can't do because there's not the resources to be able to produce it. I think we can reach out to KGNS and have them do an in-house PSA, and and again, I hate having to think, but I was thinking because that PSA was more of the who's who among the city, I think that's why it's on there. So if we were to do something, because that one was more of like a Thanksgiving, hey, just look out for somebody. If we were to do something related to Christmas, because the season, Christmas and New Year's coming up, we do something to do with don't drink and drive, or having to concentrate on something that is relevant to the commission, then I think maybe it comes up quicker.
We had a lot of ideas. We're gonna do vaping, we were gonna do several other things besides drinking and driving, right? But we haven't seen it, so I'm not gonna do it until I see it.
well,
we
again,
have the
Send it to
resources at the
Noraida.
county. I mean,
Noraida will do
you
it.
guys, I
well,
can
yeah,
do
the county also has,
We have the backdrop, we have the cameras, we have everything. So
Perfect.
if we need to, we can use that free of charge.
Well, I think what Ms.
Well,
Rodriguez
city didn't
said,
charge us.
Madam Chair, that on the suicide group, they came together quick. It's it's an alarming number, more than we've ever had. Tied in also to overdose. We
Yeah.
think that half of the overdose, 19 for 2019, that half were really suicides. That's the national statistic. If you add that to the ones that have been confirmed as suicides, we're almost at 30. When the last 3 years we had 11. Even 11 was high.
Yes.
And so that did bring in people
not
together.
saying that one
No, but
topic
I
or
think we
one
should do that
is
for
important than the
addiction
other.
too.
They're all equally important.
Yes, addiction.
And I feel it all correlates back to, you know, drug addiction. It goes back to drug and alcohol, having to get into that and then leading into something else, and then mental health. And, you know, we go into
Right,
mental
mental
health, and that's when suicide kicks in, and that's why I feel like meeting these components is highly important. And I thank you, Mara, for having to be able to connect us to that, because then I'll get Ms. Quintanilla writing, and then we get something going already. Because it is important, and if we can do something on a monthly, then I think that's more than enough. But in highlighting certain things, like, okay, like
Right.
now it's to highlight the team, the HARP team, and then doing something else as things are happening. But if there's a problem and there's a solution, put it out there, like having it out there in a public service announcement almost immediately. And I think that's why it worked, because again, you just mentioned it, suicide's on the rise, and they felt it was extremely important to put it out there, and during the season, why not? So again, if there is something that is pressing in our community with drug and alcohol, then to look at it as a problem and then a solution, and then put it out there, because there are solutions around this room, and it's just a matter of getting that information out. The website may not be for everybody to look at, because nobody's gonna think, oh, it's gonna be on the website. They're probably either gonna go to like the social media and look it up, or they're gonna see it on TV or hear it on the radio. So meeting every media point, then that would allow us to expand our demo.
Well, Madam Chair, I want to tell you that the idea of the card, and so for the education group, for them to come out, because you mentioned it last time, and Assistant Chief Maciel took it to the suicide. They already developed the card for first responders to give for suicide crisis prevention, that has seven numbers, and both PD and fire are going to be giving it out.
I was asking for the
Well,
information.
you asked for it for the
And
addiction.
he said he would get it printed.
We're working on it, in fact.
He'll get it printed.
I'm not gonna
But
print it myself.
we need the material for the card, because for the suicide, Board Region developed it. And so we're printing them right now. And so, yes, Chief Maciel committed to print them, but we need the info, and so.
And as simple as it can be, the
Right, it has to be very basic.
Yeah.
organizations that can help. I think it needs to be as
Well,
simple.
and you're right,
Because then they're-
now with the drinking and driving is
Yeah.
gonna be a big issue.
Well, right now, I'm running all the tech stock grants, so we're gonna have what we call immobilization driver events. So we're gonna have a PSA coming up this coming week, because we're gonna start for 2 weeks. We're gonna have extra patrols out there just rescuing the drunk drivers. So it could be a good opportunity to try to sneak in some of this other stuff
The commission.
together, because that's the way, again, we show unity between the agencies. We're all on the same boat. We're all
Right.
going the same way.
Right.
So it might be a good opportunity to get, I don't know if you all have PIOs, because right now as I hear you all talking, I'm thinking of a PIO night where we can all be in one room, say the Civic Center, and then all these media events can come in and we can just have our own presentations there and do our PSAs there.
Yeah.
One shot, one kill type.
Very good. That's a good idea, and we can write up several.
That way we don't, I mean, because having them, now you have a captive audience. We're all there, they're all there. Who you want to talk to, we're all available. Let's just talk, so come up with like she
plan
said,
right
showcase
there.
the programs or efforts, and we'll go from
Okay.
there. As far as suicide, I'm not tracking what you guys did.
What's
or-
going on?
There was a
There's a
commission, committee, coalition that was created to address the problem, and
Chief Gonzalez is taking the lead from PD, and they did a PSA here with him, with Chief Trevino, Health Department, Sister Rosemary, Border Region Director, someone who was here from SCAN. The same agency, because they deal with behavioral health too, but it was them, and so it was a quickie. That was one of the decisions that was made to do that quickly, and then it was spread out 2 ways, through social media, and then through public access. And it quickly it picked up, and the media picked it up too.
Well, you know why? Media is all about sensationalism, right? And suicide it's about a terminal event, so it affects a lot of people. Drug abuse or drug use, it's a stigma and it's a long term. Nobody cares about that as far as media goes. That's why it was
Until
so
it
successful.
happens to them.
But
Exactly.
if you have someone that's relatable, like Marina, like your story, I mean, I think that'll catch traction.
That's what I'm saying. When you always have someone that's been in there, oh yeah, it doesn't matter what it is at that point.
Yeah, like if
but
you
yeah.
can touch someone's heart
yeah.
right away versus giving them like a scripted thing.
Right.
Oh yeah.
It'll hit home to anybody.
Well, that's what we did with ours. We used a mother who lost her son. It was never, I've never seen it. And we started it in September. Here it is December, y nunca lo vi salir anywhere on TV. Well, then why are we spinning our wheels?
Well, the city's PI always asking them, and we're gonna reissue it again and ask for times. But I think what Lieutenant Tinajero is saying is bringing the commission together with PD and this whole DWI issue and the holidays.
But we need to
Might
act
be.
like by next week, because you know how it is. Right now the parties are gonna start, and we need to take action.
And then we can
So-
use Marina for the one about addiction. And then we also, Chief Maciel wanted one on vaping, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it's all about education. That's part of the problem.
Well, that's why what you all did is critical, because more so for addiction, it has to be to educate the community, because they just, the majority of the population doesn't see it as a disease. It's someone who's doing something they shouldn't be doing, but it's a
Right.
disease.
It's a cultural thing. Part of my dissertation is on emotional intelligence. So people, we understand it. You know, the old saying, "Dime con quién te juntas, te diré quién eres," right? I mean, our grandparents knew this, but some white guy decided to call it, emotional intelligence. Great, but the problem is that, just like certain theories, like even Freud was in Vienna. He never knew Hispanics. He never knew blacks. So his theory on psychology is not, it's not conducive to us. So we just got to figure out how to make it into our culture, explain it our way, so that our people can understand it.
Relatable.
Yeah, in a language that they can speak, that they can understand it. And I'm not talking about dumbing it down. I'm talking about just explaining it differently. That's the challenge that we have. I can speak to a group, at this level, not a problem. But can I speak to, Joe, Juan Smith from South Laredo that doesn't care about the way I speak or the way I look? So that's the challenge right there. How to get them to listen to what we have to say. Okay.
I went to speak at, I was invited to go speak at AMA, the clinic. And I had like 15 individuals, and they all like really paid attention. And actually one of them is in the AA program, and he called if I could go and speak there in their Thanksgiving fellowship group. And I did, and I got more people to listen to my story. So maybe, like she says, like if it's something personal from somebody that's already been through it, as opposed to you all that you work with them and you know the ins and outs of what they do, and they're like, like them getting in trouble, and I know from the bottom of my heart
From a
like,
different-
what
yeah,
happened,
different-
Yes.
So
And that's why diversity is the key. That's why everybody here has got something to offer. So the problem is at the right time, at the right place.
And everybody's got a mother.
yeah.
Everybody's got a mother, and the mother's feelings of their child and what happened to them. I have the state, Michigan Crime Stoppers head, and he says he has a death a day for young kids, teen to early 20, 21, and they can't ever solve them. So he does the PSA in the jail with a mother standing there talking about the son being killed and all of this, and he says, I get more than 70% solved because they see the mother crying.
And I got a lot of good reactions from them.
Yes.
They actually, they texted me messages and Facebook and stuff, cause I told them where to go to my page and stuff, on my son's page, and they tell me like thanks, and I'm not gonna do this to my mother. One even got me, and he took me
Exactly.
to his mom, and he said, Mom, because of her, I don't wanna hurt you like her son hurt her. And I was like,
Exactly. Thank you.
And it
Yes.
happens because they're looking at it in a perspective that, again, we may not
Relating.
reach to.
Well, and here's another aspect, and I'll shut up after this because it's getting late. But so we have the agency, we have the law, we have work, education, maybe even religion, right? But the biggest thing we're missing is the familial involvement. We are letting them off the hook. We really are.
The family needs counseling.
We're letting them off the hook because we're dealing with the problem child per se, but where's the accountability for the parents,
Everybody.
right? So those of you that are educators, God bless you, because I couldn't do that.
Well, they're
I gotta get arrested right
very
away one day.
manipulative.
Right, so educating or holding the parents, so how to bring the family to take part in the rehabilitation program. That's another huge challenge, so. Okay, I'll be quiet now.
Now, I think I has a point, because in the suicides, that was one of the priorities, to educate the families of how to recognize it and where to go for help.
That's it. I'm sure they recognize it. It's right in their face.
But it's the same thing
But
that with
Well, it's because
addiction.
like he says, they're adults and they can do whatever, so
Well, but then we
we're
go
just-
again with
we're s-
culture.
we're just spinning our wheels, because I mean, they're adults and it's,
Well, we go back to free will, but again, the culture here. You know, I don't want anybody to find out, this
Yes.
is my dirty laundry. I don't want anybody to find out. And I'm embarrassed to ask for help. So we gotta change them. I'm telling you, the white coat, they don't care. They'll tell everybody anything. They don't care. Which is good, which is a good thing, because they get the help. Now, I'm a lieutenant colonel in the reserves, and so I've had a lot of my friends commit suicide coming back from Afghanistan. So and the thoughts are there, because 2 years of combat kind of do some things to you, but because of education and the support system, and then religion, whatever you want to call it, right? You get through
Something to
that.
hold.
Some people don't have that.
Right.
Some people, come back. I came back to PD, no problem. But some of these guys who were 18, 19, 20 years old come back to no job, to
Aimless.
nothing. The wife or the girlfriend left them because they were gone too long. So all these different things kick in.
Scenarios.
And people feel like they don't have a way out, which is crazy for me. But still. So understanding suicide is a very, very important topic. But like I said, we can be here all day talking about all kinds of stuff. So.
All night. Okay, what do we have left? The local support for street addiction, we just went all over that. The website for the directory with Dr. Gonzalez already talked about him. They found him again. I hope this
We found
hurries
him.
through. And do you have the money now?
We have to find it, but yeah, it has to come out of our budget.
Okay,
But
find the money.
we'll find it.
Okay. Is there anything else? Announcements, anybody? No?
Wishing everybody a happy
Yes,
Merry Christmas
happy.
and a
And
happy
please
New
take
Year.
cookies,
Christmas
about
and
110 of those things.
Oh
I
my
cleaned them out there. I went to Gonzalez Bakery and bought them all. And so take them home.
Thank you.
Take it, please.
Thank you.
And I need a motion for adjournment.
Before we adjourn, Madam
sorry,
Chair,
sorry.
just on behalf of Judge Tijerina and Mayor Sines, wanted to again thank the commission members. You're doing this as volunteers, to all of you. And so you face a bigger stigma with addiction than with suicide. Because yes, you need to ask for help, and some of us just don't want to ask for help or don't know how to ask. But you've come a long way with, the Detox was a major accomplishment, so thank you, because you all were the ones who approached both City Council and the Judge and Commissioners Court.
So make sure you have a little plaque with all the names of every dummy that sat here for months and months and months.
That's why on behalf of both Judge Tijerina and Mayor Sines, Council and Commissioners Court, thank you for your commitment. And as Mara said, wish you and your families safe
Thank
and
you.
very happy
And we'll keep in
holidays.
touch to see about the
Thank you.
PSAs and, because the city was very good. He helped us tremendously, he did. So, we'll work it out. Thank you. See you next year.